Welcome to Kentucky Roll Call.
Here's a swing and a drive to deep left. Back goes Nixon. Looking up. Daly wins it. Daly wins it. Daly wins it.
With Walker and Peak.
Woodson from the gun. Play fake. Step it up. He's throwing deep down the near sideline. He's got Johnson. 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Kentucky!
When Mitch called me and talked to me about being the head coach here at Kentucky, I understand the assignment. We are here to win banners.
Back outside. This is the point where he always hits it. Oh! Aaron Harrison beyond belief.
Hello, everybody. Happy Monday to you, January 12th, 2026. This is Kentucky Roll Call, a new week of KRC here on Big X Sports Radio. Stephen Peak right now is listening to UK head coach Mark Pope. He is meeting with the media before the Cats game against LSU on Wednesday. I don't like the Wednesday games. I'm not crazy about them. I'm a Saturday, Tuesday guy, but it's a Wednesday. It's a lot of Wednesday games, this SEC slate for Kentucky. But they'll travel tomorrow, and that is why Mark Pope is speaking today and why Stephen Peak will join us for hour number 2. I'm TJ Walker. In studio is producer Matt Childress. When Peak goes remote, sometimes it's better show quality if I go remote. Now, with him missing the first hour, I was really going to head into the studio today, but work got busy, and it's just going to be a little easier for me to be remote as well. But hopefully we sound crystal clear. And producer Matt, everything going okay? How are you, buddy?
Everything is going fantastic, TJ. Everything's going fantastic. I had a great weekend watching probably one of the best NFL first weekends of the playoffs we ever had. Sorry to see what happened in the Packers-Bears game, unfortunately.
But wait, what happened in the Packers-Bears game?
Oh, yeah, you were watching Kentucky Mississippi State. My fault. I forgot you.
I was doing the Kentucky Bud Light post-game show. I was watching Cats. I didn't get around to catching the highlights of that one. You are spot on. I mean, with the exception, really, of your game, they were all really good, came down to the wire, but holy smokes, you all put Justin Herbert in hell. And listen, I got to do it. I mean, it pains me to say go ahead, producer Matt. If your team's still in the playoffs, go ahead and give a little playoff dance. There's producer Matt giving the playoff dance. He's wearing his Patriots jersey today. They advanced to the divisional round, and Green Bay absolutely has no business not advancing to the divisional round. Up 21-3 in that game. I'm live on the postgame show, Matt, as Green Bay is collapsing and melting, and everybody on Green Bay's team looked scared, bleepless, except for Jordan Love. Everybody, but you could tell that in the fourth quarter, Green Bay was going to lose that game just because everybody just looked clueless. They couldn't believe what was happening. And it started with the head coach, Matt LaFleur. And that's the one thing I said on Saturday night during that post-game show was, this sucks. This is painful. This is inexcusable. Green Bay's playoff losses are always just stick the knife in and then twist it. It's as brutal as could be, but at least Matt LaFleur will be gone because you just can't keep this guy around anymore. And then sure enough, it's coming out today that they're going to try to keep him. I'm still optimistic that Reason will win out. It makes no sense to me. I would need to hear why he should be back, why he should even be a head coach in the NFL at all. He's been to the playoffs. He's not even winning the division. He's getting the 7th seed every single year. Yeah, but you're still solid. At least it's better than being really, really bad. Green Bay's a great franchise. I think I could coach the Packers to a playoff. But lucky for Matt LaFleur, they've expanded to 7 seeds because he's been the 7th seed the last 3 years. He's only won one playoff game since that absolutely bozo decision to kick a field goal from the 10-yard line against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC Championship game, 5 years ago now, however long it's been, Green Bay the 1 seed in the NFC. You get Tom Brady coming to town, you win with Aaron Rodgers, you go to the Super Duper Bowl, and here you are, you're down 8 points with 2 minutes and 6 seconds to play, and you decide that's the right time to kick a field goal to take an 8-point game to a 3-point or to a 5-point game, and then you have to kick the ball off to Tom Brady. And guess what, folks? Green Bay never got the ball back. Ever since that decision, Matt LaFleur should have been fired on the spot. If you had a flag football coach decide that was a good decision to kick a field goal, if you had somebody coaching Pop Warner and they thought that was good, people in the stands would be like, hey, is this person just an idiot? Why would he do? You need a touchdown. You're 10 yards away from the end zone. Now you're down 5 and you still need a touchdown, but you don't have the ball left. And if you do get the ball, it's going to be at the 20 or 30 yard line where you have to go 70 or 80 yards versus, 10 yards. So obviously, Matt, I probably need to see a counselor about that NFC Championship loss. I don't really think I've ever been right since, but just add it to the list. You're up double digits against San Francisco in the playoffs. You lose that one. You're up 21-3 against the Bears. You lose that one. The dude just doesn't have the chops. I don't understand what the appeal is. The Bears have been better in the North. The Lions have been better in the North. The Vikings have been better, but they're probably about equal to where the Packers have been, really non-threatening. But the Bears, this is a dream season for them. They're having a blast. The Lions last year, that was a dream season for them. They're having a blast. I'd like a dream season, producer Matt. I want to have a blast again. I am so sick of Matt LaFleur. And the thing that I hate the absolute most is that if he's back next year, I'll go into the season. Yeah, I'll be excited. In August, we'll roll around, and I'll be wearing all my Packers gears to my fantasy football draft, and I'll get so pumped for the first game. But it will always be in the back of my mind that it doesn't matter because this dude is going to blow it in the playoffs. He just will. And he had an incredible game plan in the first half. He could do no wrong. And I think part of that was beneficial to the Bears, just going for it on 4th down and not getting it and turning the ball over and doing silly things. But he was calling a masterclass. And I don't know what the hell happened at halftime. But special teams continues to be a disaster for Green Bay. It has been for several seasons now. He brought back the special teams coordinator from last year. And sure enough, missed field goals, missed PATs. That costs you the game, too. You don't even have to worry about a touchdown there in the final few seconds if you don't miss a PAT. The Bears also have a big punt return. That's special teams. So that is all coaching. And it goes back to the top man, Matt LaFleur. He seems like a good dude. He's a gorgeous human being. But please get them the hell out of Green Bay. He cannot coach. He cannot close out games. He does not have the chops. I really hope that they don't bring him back. It seems like right now the odds are that he will be back, but I'm still holding out hope that it's not officially official. I don't know how you could have any confidence in him coming back and being like, you know what? These last 4 years where he just collapses late, this year will be different. All right, rant over, producer Matt. Thanks for giving me like 3 Sorry, I think I muted myself while talking, but thank you for giving me some time to vent about the Packers. I appreciate it.
I mean, it's completely deserved because when I was watching the game, I think I saw you tweet in the middle of the game giving Matt LaFleur his props, and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen TJ Walker do this in my entire life. So, you know what? Shouts out to him. I mean, at the same time, this Bears team has been an absolute anomaly this whole season. They have, Caleb Williams by himself has 7 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime, like just in this season. They have 7 comeback wins just in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, and that's the most in NFL history. This team just makes no sense to me. The one thing that I put on that's 100% Matt LaFleur's fault, and that's just like you said, the coaching in the first half was immaculate. Caleb Williams, I think, had like a 43 or 35 QBR rating. I mean, he was just putting up a stinker of a game. He was screaming for dudes to get a stop. I'm like, Caleb Williams, you gotta complete a pass, big brother. Like the defense is not the problem here. And then the issue was Green Bay just couldn't stop them in the second half. They gave up, especially they gave up 25 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, that is just unacceptable at any level of football. I don't care if, like you said, if you're playing Pop Warner if my great-grandson is out there playing DB and his team is giving up 25 in the fourth quarter against the 6th grade national team, he's sitting the bench. I'm going to the coach, sit him in the face, say, don't play my son anymore. He's giving up the deep bombs. He's giving up the problems. It was a trend the whole week. I mean, what was it? The first 3 games of the weekend all were decided by the team that was losing before the 2-minute warning. All those teams won. It was one of those weekends where you're excited for playoff football if your team isn't in it, where you're like, gosh, this is like some of the best football I can watch. But then if your team is the one playing in it, you just want to throw up the whole time. And it almost was maybe really nervous because, I mean, the Patriots hadn't played a true playoff game since 2021 when Tom Brady threw the pick 6 to Mike Vrabel's Tennessee Titans and lost us the game. They hadn't won a playoff game since 2019 when Tom Brady won a Super Bowl against the Rams. So after seeing the debacle of what had gone on all weekend, I was petrified going into this game that it was going to be a Justin Herbert-Drake May shootout. But you said earlier, I mean, Justin Herbert actually felt bad for because that dude's O-line is just battered. They can't do anything. They couldn't protect that man if their families were on the line.
It's very rare that I feel bad for an NFL player. And I mean, if somebody's getting paid millions of dollars to play a sport, it's going to be hard for me to like feel bad for you. Again, I can empathize with you as a human, and you feel negative emotions, and I'd be your buddy. But like in terms of like, oh man, I hate it for him. I felt terrible for Justin Herbert because I just like, how are you not hurt? How are you not more hurt? I guess I should say. He was just getting clobbered, and I don't know if you saw it during the game where they were showing like the PFF grades of the Chargers offensive linemen. Did you see that?
I didn't get to see the charge offense. I had to tune into the game a little late, so no, I did not see that.
There was there's a tweet out there, but it was showing just the Justin Herbert's offensive line and where their offensive linemen rank PFF grades for offensive linemen in the playoffs, and I think it was 37 out of 41, 38 out of 41, and 41 out of 41 as they were just going down the list of the offensive line. And there's this popular tweet out there that's like, Justin Herbert has 2 blind sides if this is his offensive line, which is totally true. And you saw that from the Patriots, and that you all were relentless. You all did not let up, which, of course, why would you? You're not going to feel bad for them. You're going to go try to win the football game. And I actually thought your offense didn't play well enough to win.
They did not.
But when you're that dominant defensively, who cares, right? It's win in advance, and at least you get another week of having fun. And I didn't have any expectations of Green Bay winning the playoffs. They were not going to go win in Seattle, although I thought they could play Seattle close. But another week is just so much more fun. Wearing your team's gear around, not feeling the embarrassment of giving up 25 points in the fourth quarter. And you're exactly right, producer Matt. There shouldn't be enough time in a game for you to give up 25 points in the fourth quarter. You can have an absolutely all systems fail quarter, but it's only 15 minutes with a running clock with, possibly some timeouts, which Matt LaFleur is just such an absolute idiot with timeouts. You just go down the list of everything of why this dude is not the man for the job. He's had generational talent at quarterback. I don't know if I'd say that with Jordan Love just yet, but Jordan Love was incredible. He was unbelievable on Saturday.
I was going to say, I wrote down another stat that Jordan Love is just the 3rd quarterback in NFL history to lose a playoff game while throwing at least 4 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions. And he joins Josh Allen and Alex Smith. And after the game, I wanted to ask you about this. He basically stood up and defended Matt LaFleur, basically saying, hey, if anybody's on this roster, I want to be on it, and I want Matt LaFleur to be on it. What did you feel about that?
Dumb. Give me Malik Willis. I'm kidding. I love Jordan Love. I think he can win a Super Bowl. I think he's great. He seems to be loyal. That's nice. But Matt LaFleur could make maybe a great offensive coordinator. He just doesn't have everything you need to win as a head coach in the NFL. And the thing that really bugs me the most is totally subjective. Obviously, the objective things, he doesn't win enough for Green Bay standards. He hasn't won the NFC North now in many years, which is just a joke. Only you got a 25% chance to win every year, and when you're the Packers, you win it more times than not. And now we've fallen on hard times there. But he just can't get it done when it matters the most, and he always looks scared. He always looks petrified. And again, it's subjective, but he looks like he He wants mommy or daddy to come down and help him. He always is looking around. He's looking up. He's looking down. He always kind of looks a little angry and confused. He doesn't, I don't know. He just doesn't have it. If that dude ever wins a Super Bowl, at least in the next 5 years, I don't know. Maybe he'll develop into a good head coach 10 years down the road. But it kills me. 25 points in the fourth quarter. And your offense is rocking and rolling. And for the most part, you took the ball out of Jordan Love's hand in the third quarter. You iced your own quarterback. And now, luckily, Jordan Love was able to turn it on in the fourth. And he missed a couple throws in the third quarter. But, you can miss a couple throws in a game and still be okay. Just some really head-scratching play calling in the second half after such a good first half. It would be impossible to lose that game. And somehow Matt LaFleur found a way to do it. And I'm more disgruntled than I would have thought. That being said, the Bears suck. They still suck. They always will suck, even if you get lucky against the Packers a couple times at Soldier Field. The cheese grater, I can't think of a bigger loser in the world than the person that sneaks a cheese grater into their pants pocket, sneak in booze like a real person. Thirdly, thirdly, Ben Johnson's a huge loser. I get it. You don't like Matt LaFleur. I don't like him either, but you just won the game, and you're going to just act like a child.
Yeah, did he snub him or what? I didn't get to see that part.
He did, and it's all so weird. Like, he hates Matt LaFleur, but nobody really knows why.
I saw the locker room stuff where he was like, bleep them, I hate those bleeping dudes or whatever, but I didn't see the after-game stuff.
A lot of it comes back to, like, a Pardon My Take interview where he was just, like, being a loser to be a loser, and people were like, is this robbery, or is there bad blood, or is there a story here we don't know about? And LaFleur was like, I guess it's just Bears-Packers, because I don't really know. But yeah, he did the rush by handshake after a dramatic win. Not that Matt LaFleur, I think, was looking to have a long conversation, but it just is a bad look for him. Ben Johnson's a loser. I'll be rooting against him for the rest of time. Okay, now my fourth point. You do have, and you already got on this, producer Matt, you do have to take your hat off to Caleb Williams. He was incredible. That fourth down throw to save the game. If he doesn't make that throw, the most perfect throw that I think I've seen this NFL season, reminded me of Aaron Rodgers, honestly. If that pass isn't perfect, Green Bay wins. Green Bay's what 11 at that point with like 4 minutes to play. It's over at that point if you don't make that 4th and 8 throw in your own territory. There were 5 Green Bay defenders in the area, but the one area that just like everything had to be perfect. The route, the throw, the timing, all of it. And to Caleb Williams' credit, I tip my cap to him because I saw Aaron Rodgers do this a million times. Jordan Love was in his bag this game as well. But that was such an incredible throw. Just drop it in the basket right where it had to be. And after that point, I coined this phrase, producer Matt, on the postgame show, but it was a domino game where these dominoes keep happening where you're like, if this doesn't happen, Green Bay wins. If this doesn't happen, Green Bay wins. If this doesn't happen. But instead, all these weird things start to happen, and you're like, oh, no, that's the domino effect. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then sure enough, you lose the game. But after that throw, I had a really bad feeling about where things were heading. They had all the momentum in the world. They score, no problem. I will say when Matthew Golden scored, which was before this, when he scored, I thought Green Bay may be okay. But no, that one hurt. What Green Bay playoff loss doesn't? But that one stung. But you are right. It was an incredible wild card round starting with the game before Green Bay. That one was a classic. The Green Bay game was great. Jags-Bills yesterday was awesome. 49ers-Eagles was a good game and a pretty big upset at that. And then the only one that really didn't necessarily come down to the wire.
I don't know how they keep doing it. I don't understand. I mean, every single game they have a season-ending injury to, like, a serious key piece to their offense or defense, but they still keep beating these teams away. They keep beating good teams at home. As much as I'm obviously biased on the Mike Vrabel Coach of the Year train, Kyle Shanahan has done something crazy over there with the Ford. I mean, did you see the conspiracy theories that because of the electric plant down the street, that's why they're getting injuries, and there's having muscle tissue problems and because of electromagnetic fields and stuff like that.
Did you? Yeah, I did see that. Did you actually like follow up on it? Did you like read about it a little bit?
I didn't go in depth in it. I learned, like, I watched some short little videos from dude explaining that the like electromagnetic frequencies from the plant across the street actually messes with like muscle tension and stuff like that. And it's been scientifically proven that happens. And so even the players are kind of like I saw Kendrick Bourne made a joke about it in their post game presser the other day, but I didn't like do like, oh, this happens, like crazy in depth analysis about it. No.
I read, I followed the thread, I guess I should say. I didn't do any further research or anything like that. I buy into it, and I wouldn't if the 49ers practice facility wasn't right there too. Like, all right, you're just playing on Sundays, and these 49er players keep getting hurt because of electromagnetic whatever. But the fact that their practice facility is right there, so they're spending pretty much all of their time training right next to it, I actually do buy into it a little bit. And then sure enough, did you see Kittle?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So
I saw somebody was making a joke of a tweet, and they were saying that it was a 49ers fan. You remember, like, last season, the big thing was you saw your favorite player go down, and then it would be the Burger King, Whopper, and then it was like, I have to see this after just watching my team lose. Well, George Kittle went down with his Achilles injury, and during the next commercial break, they played his ridiculous Little Caesars commercial where he's, like, riding the deer or whatever with all the pizzas, and it was this dude who tweeted, he was like, I think I'm going to end it tonight. I think I'm going to lose my mind if I have to see this one more time.
Well, watching the Cats, UK fans, and we're going to talk UK. We probably will get into it next segment, but I do want to save the bulk of it for Peak and give him a chance to discuss what he saw on Saturday night. Ooh, that was a weird game, at least a weird start, I should say. Boos were flying at Rupp Arena, but then after the boos, that was what we were looking for, really. They turned it on, but we'll save some of the UK discussion for hour number 2, but we probably will get into that at some point. We'll talk some UK football here in a little bit, but it is fun to recap the NFL playoffs. But during the UK game on Saturday night, out of nowhere, producer Matt, they did an in-game ad. So UK's playing, Jalen Lowe's getting hurt, the Cats are rocking and rolling. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of cheese sticks start coming up on the screen. Cheese sticks to the left, cheese sticks to the right. Again, the game is going on, but they have Farmhouse mozzarella sticks, and they just start seeing gooey cheese come across Rupp Arena. It was bizarre to see. I didn't love it, but it did truthfully make me want some cheese sticks. So, advertisements, I guess that's something that in-game ads are probably going to be more and more common. Us going to the text line is incredibly common here on Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. The Game Day Men's Health text line. Text it in to the show, 502-414-1450. We've got several texts into the show, but let's take our first commercial break. I'll come back. We'll talk some text. We'll talk a little more NFL playoffs because we really only touched on, I guess we touched on all the games, but we only really broke down 2 games, and realistically, I whined about 1 game for the majority of this segment. So we will touch on some of those other games, or at least bring them up again. Divisional round, all but set. One more game tonight. Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Houston Texans. We'll talk about that as well. But the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. When we return, this is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. Producer Matt Childers, TJ Walker, back after this. 414-1450. Game Day Men's Health, the redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. If you're interested in taking care of your body in 2026, then I highly recommend GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Defining a new era in men's health, testosterone, peptides, weight loss, sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com and then send a text in 502-414-1450. All right, I want to read a few texts there based on the first segment, and then we'll talk a little bit more NFL playoffs and then college football playoffs. We do have our national championship game set. We're a week out. It'll be the Indiana Hoosiers at the Miami Hurricanes. That's right, at Miami with a home game for the national championship. That has created ticket pricing drama. We'll get to that a little bit later on. We had one great college football semifinal, and we had one stinker. We were able to talk about the good one on Friday from Windows World at the Kentucky Expo Center for the Home and Garden Show. Shout out to them for letting us go out there. That was a lot of fun, producer Matt. A listener bought me a beer. Despite it being a dry January, they bought me a beer at the Home and Garden Show. I was like, I don't know if I want a beer. And I didn't mention it on air because I don't know if Windows World would be crazy about us drinking at their booth. We did have one time we had a sponsor that was not so crazy about a beer, which is understandable, I suppose. So I kind of kept it hush hush, but thankful for that listener for looking out and grabbing a beer for me. Peak and Roman were not gifted beers, unfortunately, but Roman was gifted a Papa Shot beatdown that unfortunately the entire Window World team saw in real time. I hated having to do that to him, producer Matt.
Is that before or after you also didn't gift them any pizza either?
Yeah, that's a good point about the pizza. Now, that was me. I went to get a pizza, and I got a Sprite. Actually, it was a Starry. And then a listener was like, hey, do you want this? And I was like, I'm all right. And they're like, well, we can't have it. We're leaving. So I'm just going to throw it away. I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to say no to it. So I guess they really didn't gift it to me as much as it was a charitable sort of deal. But very nice of them all the same, you know. A beer's a beer, producer Matt.
Yeah, I mean, a beer's a beer. Just like I think the rule is that a dry January isn't exposed if you didn't buy it. It's just kind of like a moist January. Like you're not totally wet just yet. You're just kind of getting going.
Wow. Jeez. What, are we talking dry January or prom night?
Whichever one. I don't know if prom falls on January, but you know you get a little early. You can get there a little early.
I hear you, buddy. This has certainly been a moist January for me, to the point where you just have to wonder if you stop lying to yourself about it being a dry January. But I think like the first weekend of the year, you have to remember I took the majority of 2025 off from drinking. From November and December were a little bit different. I partook for sure. But for the majority of 2025, I didn't drink. So New Year's, that's on like what, a Thursday? And then you have that weekend. So it's like, all right, there's a lot of good football on, blah, blah, blah. I'll have an occasional drink here or there. But then after that weekend, we're good to go. But now you got people at Window World slipping you beers and all sorts of this and that. So it's been a little bit more challenging. I'll lock back in, though, producer Matt. Green Bay's out of the playoffs. I've got nothing to stress drink about anymore. And luckily, UK basketball, they've been perfect this year, so no frustrations there either. So,
I mean, you're right. I mean, honestly, remember we were talking the other day, I think it was like a week ago. I was like, gosh, this has just been an amazing sports year for me. TJ Walker, I can't imagine the jumping jacks you're doing every morning when you wake up and how excited you are to get on the radio and talk some Kentucky sports.
I really have thought it has just been a really painful decade for your boy. Like, again, there has been success, especially regular season success. But in terms of postseason, between the Packers and UK, the things I care about the most, I don't know if water finds its level is the right phrase, but I guess everything is cyclical, maybe is a better way to put it. Green Bay's going to go on a run. Maybe I'll be in my 40s. Maybe I'll be in my 50s. Maybe I'll be in my 60s, or maybe I'll just be dead by the time it happens. UK basketball, I don't know if it's ever going to be like Calipari again, where it was Final Four and 11 and 12 and 14 and 15. And that little 5-year stretch, maybe I said then, I was like, this is 5-year golden age stretch of Kentucky basketball. I don't know if it'll ever get that lightning rod hot again where it's Final Four, like you just expect it every single year. But, Producer Matt, they will win another national championship at some point. I promise you that. They will go to Final Fours again at some point. I promise you that. Good days are ahead for my team. But I'd rather it be sooner rather than later, you know? I'm very happy that I was able to have UK's basketball success while I was in college. And Green Bay's also. They won a Super Bowl when I was in college, and UK won a title when I was in college. But I do wonder if, like, maybe drunkenly I made some sort of deal with the devil back then where it was like, just let my teams be good in college and I don't care after that. Like, blah, 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 blah. I don't think I did. I certainly don't remember it. But I don't remember a lot of stuff from some of those days, Producer Matt. So it has been, since 2012, a lot of success, a lot of good moments. But in terms of championships, it's a desert out there, buddy.
No, I mean, I feel that. For example, like while I was watching U of L play against Boston College this weekend, which was just a terrible game, I was getting almost like relapse effects of understanding of the hardships that I had to deal with for a stint of time. The Patriots have been horrible since 2020, since before COVID. The Pacers are just getting good again. They're not good this season, but the past 2 years have been good. Before that, they weren't good since 2013. Louisville basketball hasn't done anything in the past decade. Louisville football is just constantly disappointing right now, where they look really good and then they always just flop towards the end of the season. At least you have something to watch for that, but I got a feeling of during that Boston College game I was watching this weekend that I wasn't even, like, angry. It was more of just, like, a apathy. I was like, oh, well, here we go again. We're still here. We're not actually back like we thought we were, you know, and then it's just like, how long? Time to move on. Time to look for the next game. Just skip it. And, you know, they came out to win, so that's good. But I hate feeling like that. I miss getting, like, whenever my team plays really bad, getting, like, viscerally angry during it. Because, like, I know that, well, it doesn't have to be Louisville League or anybody, that I get to the point where I know we're better than this. But right now, with a lot of sports, I can't say that. Like, I just can't say that I know we're better than that.
I do wonder if we'll ever see the UK U of L basketball rivalry as good, and maybe not competitive is the right word because Kentucky still had the upper hand, but Louisville would get a game in here and there as it was during the peak Pitino-Cal era. That 2015 game, both teams were undefeated going into it. Now, again, it was a more normally scheduled game than November 11th. That still pisses me off from time to time that those two teams played so early in the year. But it was like, I don't know, like a December 10th or 20th game or somewhere in December like it normally is. U of L was undefeated. Kentucky was undefeated. I think it was number 1 versus number 4. And it was a horrible game. UK won 58-50. It was just like all defense. Rick Pitino was just like, we can't muddy this bad boy up enough. And he did, but it didn't amount to a win for him. But it does cross my mind, Producer Matt, like, was that the peak of the UK U of L rivalry? Well, when's the next time we're going to see a top 5 matchup between those teams?
I don't know. It's gonna depend on whether we have to get 2 coaches in that, like, are genuinely cemented as no matter what happens, they're going to be here for a little bit of time. Whether that's give Mark Pope more time to, like, really evaluate if he's got, you know, the stuff for this job. Pat Kelsey, I know that, I mean, he's not going anywhere for a little bit of time. But the point I'm making, we need 2 coaches that are here for a good stint who can really get their feet wet in this situation, build their own rosters fully and this and that. And it needs to be a situation where both teams are almost on a level playing field where we have time with both of them for them to grow their animosity and grow, like, they're building teams around winning these specific games, just like Rick Pitino and Cal were. They've been here for so long. No matter if Kentucky was good or bad or if Louisville was good or bad, you knew that no matter what, that game was at least going to be interesting. It was that old school rivalry matchup where Kentucky was in a down season, they were going to play them close. If Louisville was in a down season, they were going to play them close. And yeah, Kentucky won more of those, unfortunately, but
I'm trying to think of what the biggest margin was for either team during that stretch. Again, Pitino didn't beat Cal too frequently when he was at U of L and Cal was at UK. That 2013 win or the 2012-2013 win was only about 3 points. UK had a chance to force overtime. But 2010 was a close game. I think Kentucky maybe won by 10 or 11 when it was all said and done. 2011 was at the Yum Center, and that was actually probably the biggest blowout, maybe 2011 between Cal and UK. UK won comfortably that day, maybe by 15 was the final score. 2012 at Rupp Arena, that was a close game. I'm doing the in-season year, not when the game actually probably took place. That was a close game, ugly, but a close game. They met in the Final Four, close game. 13, that was a close game at the Yum Center. U of L won that one. 14 at Rupp, close game. 14 Sweet 16. I mean, that one was as close as it gets.
I did a very, very quick Google search. Now, I mean, this is just like their AI telling me.
Well, I don't need AI. I'm AI.
Oh,
my brain is AI. So let me keep cooking here for a second.
Okay, go ahead.
15, that again, I already mentioned that one. That was an 8-point win for Kentucky, but that was a close game. 16, Louisville had a chance at the buzzer at Rupp Arena to win, which would have been their first win since 2018 or 2008, excuse me, at Rupp Arena. And then and then 2017, U of L won by 3 at the Yum Center, beating De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk. And then 2018, I think Rick was out for that one. And then that was the blowout. David Padgett was the substitute coach. Now he is coaching first and second grade basketball in the CSAA, and he's doing a great job. His team is undefeated. He's an incredible coach. But that was the blowout. UK won that one by like 29 points or 30 points or something like that. But that was not Rick Pitino for what it was worth. So just doing the mental math, I think all those games were very close. Probably the biggest blowout was the Brandon Knight, Josh Harrelson 2010-2011 year at the Yum Center. Am I right?
On here it says the 2012 NCAA Final Four, Kentucky won 69-61. It was 8 points. But there was like multiple games that
no,
that's what this
go
was.
Go to bigbluehistory.net. I'm pretty sure Josh Harrelson, when he went off on the Cards, I think that would be the biggest one. And then also John Wall's first year, I think they won by more than 8 points, but it was probably somewhere in that ballpark. But the point is true. Like, they were all close games. I do wonder if that's the peak of the UK U of L rivalry. And then are you a little concerned about Pat Kelsey? I heard you maybe voice some concern about him. Are you worried about him being the guy for the Cards?
I'm 100% worried.
Oh no! Why not? Why
I'm not on the extremist side of like he needs to go right now. I'm not there.
Sure.
I'm not even near there yet. I'm a firm believer that even in today's world with NIL and stuff, these coaches need time. Like Pat Kelsey is coming from the Group of 5 level. This is his only second season ever in Power 4, and he turned this program around, so he deserves time no matter what happens this season. I don't really care. But at the same time, the dude just can't seem to wake his team up for these signature games. These marquee events, he can't seem to wake any of these guys up. The adjustments just aren't happening at halftime. It seems like we get down way too early, and then we just kind of roll over, and it's kind of been a staple of Pat Kelsey's team. I get that the philosophy of just layups and three-pointers work exceptionally well at the Group of 5 level because the game is, you're outpacing everybody by a mile. But now that you're playing at a level where everybody is either more talented than you or has exactly the same amount of talent than you, it's tough. It's to the situation where I'm watching I feel like I have a pretty good knowledge of the game of basketball, and I'm watching from outside in. I get that, he knows more basketball than me. I'm seeing some very easy things to fix, and we're just not even trying to make the adjustments. And my number one thing, I've said it already, is this team they can't guard anybody on the ball. They cannot. We saw it against Arkansas and Darius Acuff. Now, he's probably going to end up being SEC Rookie of the Year easily, possibly ACC Offensive Player of the Year. That kid's ridiculous. I get it. Same thing against Tennessee. Can't guard anybody on the ball. Playing ISO ball. We gave Nate Amin his best game of the year, and he's looked kind of like crap this season. And then you see it against Duke. We just can't guard Foster. We can't stop him. He's too quick off the jump. And I get that this team wasn't really built around playing ISO ball, but at the same time, if you've lost your 3 main games early in the season by the same way of play, dude just running 5 out and just playing ISO ball, do something. Throw the guys into a matchup zone or something. Clog the paint. At least make them shoot. Those are all 3 teams that particularly don't shoot the ball very well, and we didn't even force them to try. So my worriedness about Pat Kelsey is just it's the common, is Pat Kelsey too stubborn to adjust his way of thinking, and it's going to hurt us down the road, or is just this more of we're still going through growing pains because he's only coached at the Power 4 level for a year and a half. So I'm not like he needs to go. I think he gets another 2 years at most if this keeps happening, but it's definitely something I'm keeping an eye on.
You're monitoring the situation.
Yes.
You would say.
All right. My friend and I were talking the other day. We were like, the seat isn't hot. I said, but the oven is kind of preheating. We're preheating the oven. The buns are about to go in.
I'm certainly there, obviously, with Mark Pope. I wouldn't do that with Pat Kelsey. And again, what's a UK fan's opinion about Pat Kelsey and U of L, right? You should disregard it as much as you see fit. Although I am the sports talker, so you have to keep that in mind as well, producer Matt. But he has assembled good teams and fun to watch teams. And that is not for nothing in the college basketball world. He can't help it, or maybe he can. I don't know. I'm not as in tuned on the situation. But at the end of the day, you can't force people to play. So I'll give PK the benefit of the doubt. He can't help it that Mikael Brown's not playing and that his prize recruit is not playing. But the fact that he assembled that backcourt, if I was a U of L fan, I'd be like, yeah, this year's been a little underwhelming. ACC's not that great. Let's see if we can turn it on. Let's see if Mikael comes back. But the fact that he just assembled that backcourt, if I were a Louisville fan, I'd be like, all right, I know that he can put together a fun roster and a fun lineup. The front court's not good, and there are questions there, but I also think that he's playing with probably top 20 resources, but I don't know if it's top 10 resources. Maybe it is. There would probably be some U of L butt slappers that would get super offended and mad at me for even suggesting that it's not top 10, but it's probably right around top 15 in terms of how much money U of L spends versus some of the other programs out there. And I get it. It has not been all that great, but I wouldn't be as fired up about PK as maybe some fans are. Now, then again, I'm not too happy with Mark Pope, and I'm sure there's probably some U of L fans that think that's totally out of bounds and way too extreme. And maybe they're right. But I did say that we were going to go to the text line, the Game Day Men's Health text line this segment, and we've only got 9 minutes left, and we haven't read a single text. So let me read some text here on the text line, 502-414-1450. Cousin Sal tried to defend LaFleur on the Bill Simmons podcast. Hilarious to me as a Pats fan that your bozo coach was on the sidelines for that Falcons 28-3 meltdown. I don't know if I ever put two and two together on that, truthfully.
Well, can you read it again? I was looking something up really quick.
He said that somebody was trying to defend Matt LaFleur, and the texter says, it's hilarious to me that as a Pats fan that your bozo coach was on the sideline for that Falcons 28-3 Super Bowl meltdown.
That is pretty bad.
And, of course, I did not put two and two together with this, but Matt LaFleur was the quarterback's coach when that game took place.
Did you know that?
I won't blame him specifically for that. However, it's not all that surprising, producer Matt. Did I know what? Sorry.
Speaking of the situation, that 28-3, that was the last time the Atlanta Falcons had won a playoff game. And the Patriots have gone through 2 straight rebuilds, won a Super Bowl, and now they're back winning playoff games again. That's the last time the Falcons had even sniffed the playoffs.
Is that so?
I saw that the other day. I didn't do any deep research, but I saw some research on that the other day.
And how bad has the NFC South been the last decade? After Tom Brady, I shouldn't say the last decade, but post Brady, how bad has the South been? I mean, who has been the dominant team in the NFC South since Tom Brady left the Bucs?
Nobody. It's kind of just been all. The NFC South reminds me of the SEC. Come the end of the season, they just all beat up on each other, and you're like, okay, who's really good?
I love crappy NFL divisions. People are like, why do we give them a playoff spot? Blah blah. I love it. Like, be terrible and then get to host a home game. Why the hell not? And you saw what it meant for the Panthers. Nothing. They still lost.
I cannot believe they got to host a playoff game. The way that NFL sees their stuff is crazy.
I love it. Winning your division matters. So 1 year, one division stacked, and 1 year the division's booty cheeks. So what? It'll be cyclical. It'll work itself out at some point, except for the NFC South, obviously. They'll never be good. And same, actually, as a matter of fact, as the AFC South. And I know the Texans maybe have the best defense in the NFL, but is it maybe just all the good football goes to the SEC in the South, that there's no room left for the AFC and the NFC? course, I'm being facetious. The SEC hasn't been good for several years now. But it is bizarre. Like, those are generally the two most open divisions in football. Most of the time sucking. Texans are okay.
The NFL is just really weird because, like, we talk about the NBA being very owner driven, and you got to implement the second and third aprons to keep these teams humble, and you can't pay dudes out way too much. The NFL is just full, and I get that it's because football is the money grabber in the United States. That's the sport that brings in the most revenue. There is an epidemic of football ownership in the NFL that is just sees these teams as investments. So they just keep one or two great players, never build around them, maybe give them a little quarterback here and there and Atlanta's one of those teams. Like, if I am a Falcons fan, one, they did the whole thing with the stadium last year where all of their concessions are lowest than it's been since like 1975. You can get like a meal for four for like $20 there to get people to come to the games. But other than stuff like that, you have probably the best running back we've seen in the NFL in a long time. I mean, at least in the past 5 or 6 years in Bijan Robinson. And they just do nothing to help that man. I mean, that dude with a little bit of with basically no O-line, no good quarterback play. You have Drake London out there. Kyle Pitts is a secondary O-lineman at this point. They don't even use him. And Bijan Robinson's putting up ridiculous numbers, and they can't even make the playoffs. Like, it's one of those things to the point where how long do you keep this dude before Atlanta is just a stopping point and you waste this guy's career and move him on? Just like Christian McCaffrey with the Panthers.
That's fair. I wasn't going to specifically get into the Falcons rebuild necessarily for the last 4 minutes of this, but that is a good – man, we could talk NFL probably far more frequently than we normally do on Kentucky Roll Call. If Peak's ever out, you and I, NFL, back and forth, right?
We can do that.
Sounds good to me. All right, a couple of texts into the Game Day Men's Health text line. I appreciate the 270 number. Not going to lie, TJ, I think you think of LaFleur kicking a field goal against Tampa, LMAO. Not going to lie, TJ, when I think of you, I think of LaFleur kicking a field goal against Tampa. Oh, okay, so they associate me with that play. Totally fair. You should. I've said this story again on Roll Call before, but I've got somebody in my wedding is a huge Packers fan, and we met in college, and he's from Chicago, actually, ironically enough. And he's a big Packers fan. And we totally hit it off in Lexington at UK because he was a Packers fan and I was a Packers fan. Sure enough, we hit it off so much that I was in his wedding and he was in my wedding. We had them over for that NFC Championship game. Him and I think at the time his fiance and my wife and I invited them over. Let's watch the game. We'll have dinner. We'll have fun. When we kicked that field goal, I saw my reaction, once I came to, I looked over at them and I was like, oh no. They're judging me. Because I was like, I can't believe you're kicking. They brought the field goal crew out there. I was like, what is he doing? Is this a joke? And I was looking at my buddy and I was like, what is that? What is he doing? And they were like, no, it's all right. It makes sense. And to be fair, I did lose my mind. I was like, you're throwing the game away. You're throwing the season away. Don't kick this field goal. I was screaming at the TV as if they could hear me, which was probably my fault. They can't hear you, TJ. They're hundreds of miles away. But to be fair, we have never watched a Green Bay game with that couple ever since. So obviously I did a little damage there. You should think of me when you see the picture of that field goal. And truly, if there's any haters and losers listening, if you ever want to get me riled up, whether it's UK, whether it's life, I had a U of L fan, producer Matt, tweet that my 1-year-old daughter was going to be a stripper this weekend, which is just an absolutely outlandish thing to tweet somebody. Of course, an anonymous account. And and by the way, the weird thing about it is you had to probably either go to my Facebook or Instagram, which I'm not selective about if you follow me on that. However, if it's just like a porn account or something, I'm not going to let you follow me on either one of those. But it had to be somebody that's following me on Facebook or Instagram. They tweeted out that picture. Weird thing to do. That won't get me more riled up than showing me the picture of Matt LaFleur kicking the field goal against the Bucs in the NFC Championship game. So if you're ever really trying to get me fired up, just a little cheat code, that's the way to go about it, producer Matt.
To know that an image of a missed field goal from Green Bay aroused you up a little bit more.
No. We made the field goal. We cut the lead to 5.
Okay.
We made the field goal.
So it was just a bad decision, what you're saying. Like, it was just...
Yes, you're on the 10-yard line. You need a touchdown.
Yeah.
You kick a field goal. You need a touchdown. Oh, yeah. Okay, don't get me worked up again. Sorry.
It's funny that roused you up a little more than, statements about your daughter. But I understand. As a heavily invested sports fan, like, there are days that, like, it just ruins my day. Like, sometimes you get the double whammy where both your teams lose in the same day, and you're like, can I just go to sleep and we just skip today and move on? I completely understand.
Yeah, we got to go to a commercial break. I had more on that as well. But this has been a really fun first hour. Stephen Peak joining us. We're going to talk Kentucky basketball's win over Mississippi State when we return here on Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio.
Don't know where it goes, but it's only me and I walk along.
Hey there, New Albany. This is Mayor Jeff Gahan. It's another year here in our River City, and what better time to show your support for our high school's athletic programs. Whether it's basketball or football, track and field or soccer, swimming or tennis, our Bulldogs are giving it their all on the field and court. So let's rally behind them, New Albany. Come out to the games, cheer them on, and let's make some noise. Let's show everyone what it means to be a part of the best city in Southern Indiana. Go Bulldogs!
Swing into the action at Park Mammoth Golf Club, a breathtaking and challenging course just off I-65 in Park City, Kentucky. Stay in the know with the Park Mammoth Golf Club app. Get course updates, special offers, GPS, gift cards, and easy tee time bookings. After your round, unwind at the Mammoth Grill where delicious food meets stunning course views in our brand new clubhouse. Visit parkmammothgolfclub.com and experience the best in golf today.
Defining a new era in men's health, Gameday Men's Health delivers real results. No shortcuts. From testosterone replacement, weight loss, to peptides, vitamins, and sexual performance therapy,
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. Get those texts into the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. TJ Walker joined by producer Matt Childress back in the studio, making sure we sound good remotely. And coming in live from Lexington, Stephen Peak. How are you, buddy?
Doing good, TJ. Just got done listening to Mark Pope give us some updates and previewing the LSU Tigers on Wednesday. Getting excited for that one. Trying to get myself to be a little bit more excited and pumped up for these games. I felt like I've gone into like the last 2 Kentucky basketball games in this weird headspace where I wasn't like super excited for them, which is strange for me. But we're going to get back on track this week, and hopefully Kentucky can go down to Baton Rouge and get a win.
It's a must-win on Wednesday night, if you ask me.
Another one,
I know. And really, the Missouri game was a must-win that they lost. So, but guess what? That put them in a really terrible spot. I thought the IU game was a must-win. They got that one. Those are probably the 2 must-wins they've had. They're 1-1 in their must-win game. Well, I don't know. I guess Mississippi State was a must-win, but I think people were pretty low going into that game. Speaking of low, Jalen Lowe. You've got an update on Jalen Lowe. What did Mark Pope have to say about him?
That was the first thing he was asked. He said that Jalen was feeling he was feeling it a little bit yesterday, so they're going to meet, I think, at 4:00 today, and then so maybe we'll get an update from Mark Pope during the coaches show. So I don't know. I don't have a ton of optimism about it. It was with 17 and a half minutes to go in the game. He swipes for the ball. I actually thought he made a good play on it, and then immediately he turns and goes to the tunnel. And the way it happened with the St. John's game in Atlanta was, Brandon Wells meets with them. They actually just talked in the hallway for a little bit. I don't even know if they made it all the way back to the locker room in Atlanta, and he was, I think, back on the bench before the half ended. And it wasn't the case on Saturday night. So not feeling great about it. But you know what? This is a good opportunity, though, for Jasper Johnson to get some more minutes and showcase some of his skills. I thought he played a really good game, all things considered, on Saturday. And it's a good opportunity for him. Because I think you got to run through Jasper and just let him make mistakes. Let him go out there and ball. He's a scorer. And just let him play through it. I would be totally fine with that.
My mute button, if I click it once, it doesn't work. But then when I click it twice, it does work 2 times. So then it goes back to muting myself. So then I have to click it 3 times, which of course doesn't work. So then when you do it 4 times, it just mutes yourself again. So I apologize for the delay there. There was some breaking news. Dante Dowdell, UK's junior running back, has committed to the Georgia Bulldogs. He rushed for 560 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 yards per carry this season. He had an incredible game against Florida. But besides that, Stephen Peak, I'm just going to speak candidly here and know that this is just one person's opinion. I thought he stole from the University of Kentucky. I knew that we paid him a bunch of money, and I don't think Stoops and that staff were the best with the dollars. But I know we paid him a ton of money. Maybe he was underused at UK. Maybe he's a really, really good running back, and it's Kentucky's fault. That could be the case. But I kept thinking to myself, this was the running back that you all spent a ton of money on. This was your all's next guy. I was really disappointed with Dante Dowdell. And I'm going to just be honest, and I'm not trying to come off as a hater because I'm admitting I could be wrong here. But what are you doing, Georgia? I think he must have the best agent in all of college football because Kentucky paid him a ton of money. And they did not get Ray Davis success. They did not get Chris Rodriguez success. And as a matter of fact, I wanted him to be UK's second string back and third down back, which is, again, the second string back. I was not impressed by Dante Dowdell. I cannot believe he's going to Georgia.
Yeah, he was brought in to be the short yardage back, right? And he had an opportunity to to essentially win the game versus Texas. And I know there's a lot of other things. Maybe the play call wasn't the greatest. Maybe I don't know if I guess they told him to go over the top. He jumped from the 4-yard line, I think it was, and tried to get into the end zone. Didn't work. Surprise, surprise. So I'm shocked that
I enjoyed
Georgia
when,
wants them.
Yeah, I am too. And I enjoyed when Seth McGowan was in the backfield more than Dante Dowdell. I'm not trying to be a hater. You need to have a good combo in the SEC. So I was like, all right, if this is your physical back, I'm okay with that. But they didn't bring him in to be the number 2. I mean, they brought him in to be the number 1. And Seth McGowan made UK's offense a lot better than Dante Dowdell, in my opinion.
No, you're 100% right about that. That's why I'm shocked. And what was the biggest game that you remember from Dante Dowdell?
Game or gain?
Game.
He had a good game against Florida because he had that big 60-yard run or 70-yard run.
That's right, late in the game.
Yeah,
right.
But Florida, yes, that's it. I mean, besides Florida, I don't remember a good game.
Yeah,
or a
7
good game.
carries,
Or a good
1
game.
touchdown. Yeah, or a good game, yeah. And again, like if he was able to get, was the ball at the 1-yard line for the first? I think it was. Both of them were right. The 3rd and 4th down play against Texas were, I think, both.
Yeah,
at the
I think it was first
1 inside
was at
the
the
2.
1, and then they lost a yard or 2, and then they got the yard or 2 back. Yeah, I think so.
So do we have to appreciate Dante Dowdell, because if he gets that 1 yard, Mark Stoops is still the coach.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yes. Thank you, Dante. I wish him the best. I thought he was, okay. And if he came back for UK, I would have been all right with it. I don't think I would have been like, UK's running back room is the best ever. How about that Goober U of L media fan who he's obviously just riling because it's just such a dumb thing to say, that's saying that Isaac Brown is better than Tim Couch, which they play different positions, of course. But
yeah, one was hard to compare.
One was drafted number 1 overall and a Heisman finalist, and the other is Isaac frickin' Brown. Hey, how about that, guys?
That is an insane comparison for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, just dumb for first and
Who
foremost.
was it that said that put that out? I didn't see it.
You're not going to believe this, but it was U of L anonymous Twitter account,
Matt
Kelsey's
Smarter.
Army. Kelsey's Army.
Is that you, Matt? Are you Kelsey's Army?
I wish I was Kelsey's Army. I honestly, my dream is to own like a really popular burner account, because like those dudes just have so much fun rage baiting everybody. And I also don't even get on the burner accounts anymore because 90%, like Peak, you and I have talked about it before. 90% of what they post is just for just interaction, just for the rage baiting. I get on the people who actually respond to it. Because you just it's like when you give the kid who's like, when you're in elementary school, you give the kid who's just like making dumb jokes in class over and over again. If you laugh at it, you just entice them to do more. That's the same thing. So like, if anybody out there gets annoyed by any burner account, you're the problem, man. We just got ignore these people, bro.
You're just calling me out at this point because I've been going back and forth with Cucklin Craig. Cuddling Craig.
Oh, yes, that's one of my favorite ones.
Cuddling Craig. Oh, yeah, he's one of my favorite ones, too. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, there's this anonymous account that's called, like, Cucklin or Cuddling Craig. If you go to my Twitter page and you just look at my replies, you'll find him. I was going back and forth.
He was on our
with him
YouTube
yesterday.
channel last night as well.
Oh, he was commenting on the YouTube channel?
He sure was.
Wow. That's incredible. So you can find my responses to them. And I know, producer Matt, like I'm 34 years old. I know what you're doing when you're going back and forth with an anonymous account. But Cuddling Craig is interesting because he is quite literally, Stephen Peak, and correct me if I'm wrong, outside of UK Athletics and Mitch Barnhart, he is the only JMI fanboy in existence. Because who fanboys for JMI? He does
do that.
And not only does he fanboy for JMI, but he very clearly is like a 15 or a 14-year-old because all he does is just cuss and say how everybody is like a little Matt Jones B-boy, just a little B-boy. And it's like, all right, well, who are you? Because you obviously know something about JMI. He does. Like, I really do think he's inside the athletic program. I do.
Yeah,
I really think it's somebody
I
inside the athletic program, which just it enamors me. Like, I need to know more. And so, yes, I do go back and forth with him. Then again, I don't think he has any idea who I am, Peak. Like, I don't think he knows who I am personally, because he always will lump me in with Matt Jones, which, like, if you know me, you wouldn't do that. But he does, and he always calls me a liar about JMI and stuff like that, when in reality, I've been pretty open to, like, obviously JMI does some good. They clearly are falling short in some areas. So he's just a clueless troll, but I am intrigued by him, to say the least.
My favorite is when you see two burner accounts going at each other. It reminds me of the old tale of the immovable object versus the unstoppable force. Who's going to rage bait the other one harder? And if you open, especially, it always happens during like the NBA finals or college ball playoff. The big games in every sport always happens. Two of the major ones for each team always go at each other. And if you just look at the little prize, it is the funniest interaction you've ever seen, because it's the same thing. It's nothing logistical. It's nothing honest. It's just cussing at each other. It's just going back. They're talking about how LeBron's hairline is losing them games. It is the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's honestly my favorite. Like, every single time Tyrese Halliburton would hit a game winner, just watching all of the burner accounts just light up NBA TikTok and NBA Twitter is my favorite part of the postseason in any sport at this point.
Yeah, I've shared my opinion on burner accounts, but the Cuttin Craig one is very interesting to me. I would love to figure out who it is, because it's no one is out there simping for their JMI. And if you worked for JMI, do you really create a burner account to defend them on Twitter?
Yeah, because
why would you do that?
Yeah, because
but I mean, like, you must be higher up the food chain there to go out of your way.
But he's so nasty. I mean, it almost makes me think that it's just not like a successful adult, which I'm not saying you have to be a successful adult to work for JMI. However, he is so immature and just like unhinged. He's just unhinged. It could be an AI account, and I would believe it at this day and age.
But that's what you would do, though, right? If you created a burner account, you don't have to act professional. He's creating a burner account to defend JMI. I don't know that that's even professional to begin with. So I don't think that I don't know that the fact that the language that he uses eliminates the possibility that it could be somebody higher up in that company, or within the athletic department even. Who, like, if you worked for a company and they were getting blasted online and you just were a worker there, are you going to go online to defend them like that? Like, go out of your way to watch YouTube streams to defend them in the comment section?
Oh, you mean like
I wouldn't do that.
You mean like everybody that works at ESPN?
Okay, do they do it there? I mean, maybe they do. I'm not sure. But it feels like it brings more. He almost brings more attention back to JMI, because there'll be stories not JMI related that he will get involved with, or she. It could be a she.
Dan Dockage probably has 13 burner accounts.
With how in tune like Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey are to what their fans say, what do you think, if they both had a burner account, which one do you think would have more followers, and which one do you think would be more egregious?
The U of L anonymous burner account army is incredibly organized. They obviously have a group message. Sometimes I'll send out a tweet, and I just know that it has made the U of L burner account direct message, because you get the same people almost in like organized orchestration commenting, comment. And that's how you know that you made their little realm. I had the dumbest tweet over the weekend, and I couldn't believe it. It's the one that sparked the Shripper comment. U of L, producer Matt and Stephen Peak, TJ Walker, Kentucky Roll Call, Big X Sports Radio. They were doing their national anthem before their game on Saturday. You have ribbon boards in the stadium, in the arena, and U of L implemented, I thought this was pretty obvious, but obviously it was not. They implemented like AI or some sort of transcribe or speak to transcribe feature. So the ribbon board would take the words that the national anthem speaker was saying
Yeah, I saw
and
this.
put them on the board. And it was a disaster. The poor AI had no chance at keeping up with the national anthem. They said they were just like doing kind of close lyrics, but putting in silly words here and there. And it was funny because it was just on the Jumbotron there. So like instead of what the actual words were supposed to be, they were showing the wrong words. And most of the time they weren't showing any words at all because the AI was just having too hard of a time keeping up with. I tweeted out jokingly that like, oh, this is just another sign, U of L, they don't respect our great nation. And it was almost like a litmus test, Peak. And like, are you dumb or are you not dumb? And the amount of people that were just like, when did you serve, MFer? Your daughter's going to be a
stripper. Were they really saying that?
Oh, yeah.
No way.
I mean, they were freaking out. As much as I say, if you want to get me riled up, show me the Matt LaFleur field goal against the Buccaneers in the NFC Championship game. If you want to get U of L fans riled up, act like they disrespect our country. I don't want to say that I had a death threat, but I had like, I'm going to beat you up threat. Like, I'm going to find you and we'll talk about this in person threat, which I do openly invite. Like, bring it on. I would love for some anonymous U of L count to come to my face and be like, I am Pat Kelsey's little scrotum and I'm going to talk to you, blah, 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 blah. Bring it on. I would welcome it. Bring it on. That being said, they never do because they're cowards and they're losers. However, that got people more worked up, Peak, than I've had in many, many years in the trolling Twitter game.
I'm actually reading the comments right now. I'm at the show probable spam. There you go. Yeah, this is
wild, right?
They really don't understand that this is a joke.
I know. Like, these dummies, do I really think that U of L intentionally tried to disrespect our country by putting the wrong AI words on the national anthem? How dumb are you all? I'm sorry. How dumb are you? Do I have to explain the joke to you? Because I don't want to.
This is so stupid.
When I saw the tweet, so I saw that tweet over this weekend, and I saw some of the replies, and I was like, wow, people are getting really heated about this. I looked at the picture. I guess I just did not understand. Like, the joke just didn't hit for me. I couldn't even understand what you were talking about. Like, I didn't know. Until you just said it, I was like, oh, he's talking about the words. I literally was looking. I was looking at the picture, and I was like, what? I was like, is TJ just literally just posting garbage now? He's just posting nonsense? Like, what is this?
I think a lot of people didn't understand it. Like, it was a joke that they were just putting silly words. They were like, through the dawn's early light. I think they said through the burst early light or something like that. It was just nonsense. It was silly nonsense. But holy smokes, folks, people get real worked up.
Some parts we watched were so. No.
Yeah.
We watched were, and then there's nothing for a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Actually, I take it back. I think you need to make this serious. This actually is disrespectful.
To a certain degree, like, get your bleep together. On the flip side,
you can't have that preloaded though. I mean, I really don't. I don't.
I was gonna say,
like,
they just pre-typed out the national anthem. What was the point of doing the cover of it? Well, what is that? What are you saving?
That just in case there's any maybe flair to it. They just want to be sure to improvise necessarily. All right, but Kentucky got a big win. As a matter of fact, speaking of big win, it was UK's biggest win in about a month when they defeated the North Carolina Central Eagles by like 46 points or 36 points or whatever it was. That was on December 9th. Kentucky hadn't defeated a team by more than 12 since then, Stephen Peak, but they blow out Mississippi State. And there were boos in Rupp Arena. So I just want kind of your takeaway on the start for the Cats. Jalen Lowe gets injured. He plays 3 minutes, and then he's out. And then Kentucky cruises after that. And Mississippi State, they can't get anything going offensively. 3 of 21 from deep. Josh Hubbard, he can never really get going. And another great game from Otega Owe. You were in the building on Saturday night. How did you view it?
Well, it was not a good night at Rupp Arena to start. And when it got really bad. 16-6, Mark Pope calls a timeout, and the boos are just as loud as they were in Nashville when Gonzaga, tore Kentucky to shreds. at that point, and it actually got worse from there. I think Mississippi State got another bucket, and it was 18-6, and there were more boos. I looked over at Jack Pilgrim, who I was sitting next to, and said, are they going to win another game this year? Because I'm like, it's 18. Like, Mississippi State is right now, they're just running away. And then Mississippi State, I don't think is like one of the better teams you're going to play. I believe it was a quad 3 game, I think. So it was not good. They got back into doing some of the offense that they ran early in the season. A lot of the offense they ran last year. They got more into that zoom action, running through Malachi Moreno, I think. Is it Moreno, Jack? Jack's nodding his head. Okay, I know some people were saying Moreno. So Malachi running through him. And, I mean, obviously he had a great game. But then the shots started going in. That was the best shooting from behind the three-point line that Kentucky has had in a high major game this season. Shot, I think, 41% from behind the three-point line. That helps. And then the fans got into it a little bit. I don't like the booing. I get it, but it's very jarring. It was very loud.
Can you be convinced otherwise, or are you just like dead set? That's my opinion. I don't like booing.
I'm fine with it. Like, do it once, voice your frustration, and then while you're at this game, let's just see if you can get behind the players. Or, I mean, you could leave. That sends a message too. But I get it. People pay a lot of money for those tickets, and then the team comes out and they're not playing well. But I understood it in Nashville because it looked like there was a lack of effort. There wasn't really a lack of effort even to start the game. And I think they were trying some stuff defensively. Mikkel McLean had this scout, and Mark Pope talked about it after the game, that he did a really good job scouting. And even Mark Pope was like, are you sure this is the defense we should do? And he was like, absolutely, this is how we're going to shut them down. And to his credit, they did. From that point on, when it was 18-6, Kentucky closed the game on an 86-50 run.
That's insane. That's nuts. That's incredible. That's so good. And I shouted out that tweet on the postgame show on Saturday night because that number is alarming. 86-50.
Yeah, I mean, just completely flipped the game on its head. And
that's a beat.
And I left there. Yeah, it is. And I left there feeling actually like that was kind of impressive. And the zoom action stuff worked. I mean, even when they didn't score, it worked. Colin Chandler had a cut to the basket. I thought, just dunk it. He tries to lay it in, and he missed it. They were doing some some of the bad passes, that they're still throwing passes at players' feet. Like Brandon Garrison, I can't remember who gave him the pass, but I'm like, y'all know he's 7 foot. Can we get the pass a little higher? And then he threw a pass to Ortega that got deflected and led to a run out for Mississippi State. Things were really bad to start that game, and I didn't see how it could get better. And I thought we would be even if Kentucky were to win, they would be in a dogfight. And it would come down to the last few possessions, as it did against Missouri just a few days prior. So to Kentucky's credit and to Mark Pope's credit, they flipped the switch, and it was actually ended up being a pretty impressive win, all things considered.
I think you can make a case it was the best game of the season for Kentucky. With the start, you're exactly right. That was inexcusable. And I disagree a little bit. I do think effort was an issue. They just were not closing out again. They were not quick to go to loose balls. Yeah, some shots weren't falling. I won't blame teams for good shots not falling. They're supposed to fall, right? You train for them to fall. I know more times than not they go in. So when you miss an open shot in a game, I can give you the benefit of the doubt. But I'll never give you the benefit of the doubt for effort or energy plays. And it just, again, was not acceptable. And that's why I was totally okay with the boos. If I were there, I would have been booing. We are so sick of seeing you all have to wake up to play. What is going on? And to their credit, on the one hand, don't make us have to do that. Don't make the Rupp Arena crowd have to boo. On the flip side, once they did, it was a different game, Peak. I mean, maybe we boo every game if that's what the response is going to be, because they were a different team. They were a different team after that, and I hear you. And before that, they were getting paid millions and millions of dollars to represent that jersey, and instead, like, their biggest thing was like, oh, I get a free meal on my way to class tomorrow morning along with my free tuition. All right, guys, like, this is embarrassing, but let's be nice to them. They're college students. They're not college students. I don't want to say they don't care about the University of Kentucky, but they don't care about their University of Kentucky degree. 90% of them, 95% of them, they'll go get another degree somewhere. They don't care what the name says on their degree. They don't want a degree. They want an NBA contract is what they're looking for. So you want an NBA contract? Play like you want an NBA contract. And if you need to be reminded that you're not playing like that, then I think 21,000 people are going to be happy to remind you that you need to play a little bit better. I don't want to be the fan base that boos inherently or unnecessarily. However, this team has earned it. I'm sorry, I hate to be that guy to say it. They've earned it. The boos in Nashville were not unwarranted, and this was the first time that you got to hear them that loudly at Rupp Arena. But it woke their ass up, and they deserved to be booed that first 4 minutes. That was terrible. I mean, how do you come out that way? Especially after the Missouri loss. What are you all doing? Does it matter to you all as much as it matters to us? Because if not, we got to clean house completely. They eventually woke up, Peak, and maybe this will be a turning point for this team. Jalen Lowe, he's injured again, only plays 3 minutes. However, there's a lot of bright spots to take away from this Kentucky team. And we got to talk Jasper Johnson. We got to talk Malachi Marino and the freshmen in their effort. Otega Owe looks like an SEC Player of the Year the last couple weeks after getting a lot of scrutiny different times this season. So there is much to talk about on Kentucky Roll Call in the final segment. We also need to read text into the Game Day Men's Health text line. I want to give a shout out to my wife who, when I do the radio show from home, I didn't know she was coming home for lunch today. She made me a grilled cheese. So shout out to Hannah.
Oh, that's nice.
Grilled cheese was delicious. She's the best in the world. So thank you to her. One final segment, KRC, coming up next on Big X. The Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. And remember, Salsaritas, they do catering, they do delicious lunches and dinners, all at the touch of your fingertips. Download that Salsaritas app right now. Go ahead and do it. And you can do all your catering needs or have lunch or dinner waiting for you in the store. We're talking Kentucky's big win over Mississippi State. It didn't seem like it was going to start that way. It did finish that way. I was super impressed with Malachi Marino. He looked like he really grew up in that game, just impacting the game in a variety of ways. Classic Otega-Oweh game. And then Stephen Peak, it's no coincidence, it's no surprise, but 21 assists, I think. I don't have the box score pulled up in front of me, but I think I remember that saying that number on Saturday night. 21 assists in a game. That'll do it. That'll get it done. The ball was not nearly as sticky as it had been in other contests this year. So I'm not ready to totally change my tune on this team, but it is easy to just say that's more like it. That's what we wanted to see. So I was happy about that.
Yes, 21 assists, exactly, and making the extra pass. There were several times when guys made the extra pass. Cam Williams getting that pass to Otega-Oweh for the corner three, I think, cut the lead to 6 or something like that. Doesn't really matter. But Otega-Oweh was fantastic. If you get a chance, go look at the around the 14-minute mark. So 14 minutes, 16 seconds into the game, Mississippi State is leading 18-8, and Hubbard tries to take Oweh to the basket. He throws a lob. Oweh follows the ball, goes up and makes a play on the center. Remember, he was guarding Hubbard, who makes the lob pass, and he gets a finger on the ball and tips it away. So instead of it being 20-8 Mississippi State, Kentucky gets the ball, comes down and scores, and continues their comeback. Otega, just insane effort and athleticism on that play. We saw the very best of Otega-Oweh on Saturday. That is the SEC player of the year we thought we were going to get all year. He hasn't been the issue. I think he's actually been pretty decent. We got to see him be great on Saturday. And another one, TJ, I just think that this whole thing will end up working better if Andrea Jelovich is playing the 4 as opposed to Mo Diabate. And I actually think when you bring Mo Diabate into the game, can he just be a smaller 5? Is that possible? Other than that, because he's still a guy who doesn't want to pass. I mean, he gets the ball in the paint and it disappears. So I want to see more ball movement out of some of our bigs. Malachi obviously did a great job with it. Brandon was fine. But I actually like Andrea Jelovich at that 4 spot.
I think you've got something there. I like seeing Jelovich get more minutes. Mo D, he is just a classic college 4, and if he was like a college 4 in the 90s, early 2000s, he'd probably just be an All-American, just like a fan favorite. He still should be a fan favorite because he does work really hard, but he hurts UK offensively. There's no really ifs, ands, or buts about that. His best offensive game for UK is his offensive rebounding and putback, but he clogs lanes. UK can space the floor a little bit. Now, they'll try to space the floor with him, but there's a reason why in the Walker household we call him Mr. 9%. He doesn't hit threes. He can't really spread the floor. He can stand out there, but he's not really a threat to do anything. So the team looks a little bit better when he's not in that 4 spot. Doesn't mean I don't want him out there on the floor, and I agree with you. Put him at the 5 spot. When you do that, I don't know, if the other team has a quality 5 that is 6'11" or more, which is pretty normal at high-level college basketball, then you're giving up 4 inches and potentially more depending on how big that guy is. So it's not totally sustainable, but Mark Pope has decided what he wants to do. Do we want to just look horrible time and time again offensively, or do we want to spread the floor so we can have some driving lanes so the strength of our team can actually have a strength and they can shine and they can get in the paint and they can score and they can get to the rim? And Pete, my biggest takeaway from Saturday, and it's shocking to me that Jalen Lowe wasn't a part of it because I didn't think it was possible without him, but it just goes to show that I'm wrong very frequently. It was the best the offense looked this year. That was the best the offense. That was like a Mark Pope offense
Close.
Again, it was different. But in
22 threes as opposed to 30, but yeah.
But how efficient it was. It just like they were scoring.
Yes.
Every possession there in the second half, it was like, all right, I think Kentucky's probably going to score. And maybe they won't score on the initial shot, but they'll get an offensive rebound. They'll keep it alive. The ball movement was better. I even think thought there was a couple of possessions where it was still a little too sticky, but it was night and day from what we had seen. But this was more like it. And do you want to have any grandiose take of this person playing versus that person playing, or maybe the attitudes were all right? I don't know. I'll leave that to you. You're the one that's there talking to these people, getting to hear all these conversations. All I know is it looked better on TV. It looked better on the scoreboard. It looks a lot better on the box score. I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, no, like I said earlier, they kind of got away from running a lot of the zoom action that Mark Pope likes to run, and they ran it a lot against Mississippi State. Now I wonder, was that just the matchup against the Bulldogs, and we'll see if they lean heavy into that again in Baton Rouge versus LSU. But I do think that the way that Mark Pope wants to play, because I agree with you, Mo Diabate could be a great player on some teams, but in the way that Mark Pope wants to play, he actually just doesn't really fit all that well. And a guy like Andrea, who I'll admit, has struggled shooting the ball. I think that was his first three he's made against a high major team this season. And let me see. That's right. Yeah, he's 1 for 13 against high major teams. But I've seen the Carolina game for me was a sign that Andrea can really be a strong contributor for this year's team and maybe in the future for Kentucky as well. But he's a decent defender. He got 5 rebounds. 1 offensive rebound. He had an assist. He had a steal. You brought in Mo Diabate to be this lockdown defender, knowing that you were going to sacrifice something on the offensive end. But I just don't think that's the way Mark Pope can coach effective. He's way more effective as an offensive coach. And I get that there is a temptation to get really good defensive players and think that you can just coach them up into being good offensive players. But that hasn't worked out. So now I think you just have to go with your best offensive guys and let's try to outscore teams. And scoring 92 is a good way to do that. And I thought too, Kentucky, I can't find the stat here. I'm looking for that, but they turned a lot of their steals into points. Otega Owe had 5 steals, and I think they scored on every single one of them.
Yeah, they were super aggressive defensively, which I'm all for. Do that. Take your chances. Looking at I don't know if I mentioned this on the postgame show on Saturday night. I don't know if I realized Mo Diabate only played 13 minutes. I knew he didn't play a ton, but that's crazy low. And it's not really necessarily they took – I say that. Is Mo Diabate on the bench and Cam Williams in, Stephen Peak? Is that the answer for Kentucky basketball?
It's what I've wanted to see, honestly, especially now that he probably will start anyways, because with Jalen Lowe being out, you probably go Denzel, Otega, then I would go Cam. Mo still might start, and then Malachi at the 5. And then, Jasper only played 10 minutes. I kind of want to see him get a little bit more run and let him, like I said, play through mistakes, because that kid, he can be by the end of February, by the start of March. I really think Jasper could be a heavy contributor for this team. I think he has all the skill sets. It's just a little bit of confidence and a little bit of getting more comfortable against Division I competition, and also getting acclimated with the offense. But I think once he figures everything out, I'm high on Jasper Johnson and what he can do. And if you want to retain him too, if you want to bring him back for next year, I think he's got to start. He's got to have some big moments here. I'm sure for him that felt really good, getting that big crowd pop on his 3 from the corner that gave Kentucky the lead. So more moments like that if you want Jasper Johnson to be a Kentucky Wildcat next year.
Well, I will say this. When this season has been as disappointing as it has been, I don't care about player retention in the slightest. For
a lot of them, yes, I agree with you.
Sure. And, do I want Jasper to leave? No, I don't. But if he's going to be, a little stinker and be I need this much money from this place, then I'm okay, good riddance. However, we're on January 12th, so he can change my opinion on that stuff, and I can get to a point where it's you need to pay that dude whatever it takes. And only 10 minutes. I agree with you. I think he should have played a little bit more. But it reminds me, when I think of Jasper Johnson, and especially your analysis of him moving forward, it reminds me of Adam Luckett talking about offensive linemen. They need reps. They need reps. Mm-hmm. You're not going to know what you got until you get them reps. And yes, it is somewhat baptism by fire. You'll learn, and maybe you'll learn because you're getting sacked left and right, and this dude just doesn't have it. But you got to figure it out by playing. And I feel that way with Jasper Johnson. Get him on the floor and let him figure it out. He is hard to guard. People have a tough time staying in front of him. And one area where Jasper Johnson is different on this team, really different from anybody, is he's got a little bit of the Jalen Lowe step. Jalen Lowe's quicker, and he's got a better first step. But Jasper Johnson's in the same mold as Jalen Lowe. He can get where he needs on the floor, and the difference is Johnson can pull up from anywhere. Jasper can pull up from anywhere. Jalen Lowe cannot pull up from anywhere. He has to either get to the rim or he's going to kick out. He doesn't have a floater in his game. He doesn't have a pull-up 12-foot step back in his game. Jasper Johnson is comfortable with the ball in his hands, more so than Jalen Lowe, in my opinion, especially from a shooting standpoint. I would like Jasper Johnson to be a little bit of a better passer. I think that that's where he really will succeed, is once the defense thinks, okay, I'm beat. He may shoot, but he also could pass to the most wide open guy that we're not seeing. That's where he takes his game to a 3D level. And I think he'll get there, Peak. He just has to have enough minutes. I didn't really understand the 10 minutes on Saturday night, because all 10 of those minutes he was impactful. You knew he was out there. He was fun to watch. I think Mississippi State knew he was out there. And I don't want to say, like, the season will be saved if you play Jasper Johnson more. That's not what I'm saying. Although I will probably lean more to that sentiment with Cam Williams. Like, you can't not have Cam Williams on the floor. First off, is he UK's best defender? No, but his length is bothersome. Teams players don't like having Cam Williams on him because he's just so big, but he moves like a guard. And then secondly, offensively, if you're a B+ team with Cam Williams, you are a D- without him. If you're a B- team without Cam Williams, you're an F offensive team without him. He changes the letter grade of this offense by 2 or more grading points, in my opinion. He's a stretch 4, or is he a stretch 3? I don't know. I guess that's up to debate. But he can knock down shots from 25 feet. He's a player that teams have to stay out on, and they can't leave him. That is great for opening lanes. Cam Williams has to be on the floor. And I know you were talking about Andre Yelovich, and I don't disagree with you. He needs to get more minutes too. Like, why is he only playing 17 minutes in a blowout win? Get him out there. Let's see what it looks like with him. Do I think it totally changes everything for UK? No. But let's get some of the shooters out there. Let's get the scoring out there. And like you said, maybe that's going to be the new mold moving forward for UK.
And yeah, I think with Andrea, I still like his shot, even though a lot of them haven't gone in from 3. I think that eventually that will start to click. He's been just short or just long on several of them, so I think they're going to eventually fall. And as far as Cam Williams goes, he had some finishes that kind of reminded me of DeAndre Liggins, where he has a 7-foot wingspan. I think.
Hey now, don't say the DL word around me. You don't,
Are you not a DeAndre Liggins fan?
Stephen Peak. Oh my goodness. Oh no.
He was supposed to be on the show, right? At one point.
He is my favorite UK basketball player of all time. Come on now.
Okay. All right. So then you'll like this comparison then. 7-foot wingspan, and when he gets to the basket, he had a couple finishes going left and going up with his right, where he's just able to reach out to the basket and lay it in. So I like that Cam got 30 minutes on Saturday, and one last thing about Jasper, he had 3 drives to the basket on Saturday that I thought were elite moves. He just didn't finish 2 of them. And he finished it, the final one. It was more of like an open court, but got around his guy and just took him to the basket. Once he saw the lane was open, nobody was going to stop him. So the other 2, he missed the layup, and then it was a contested layup, but he missed it. And then he had a little floater from just inside the free throw line that was off the mark. But I liked his ability to get into the lane and from there, that's where you can improve the passing and get to where you've drawn the help defense. Now kick it out, move that ball around the perimeter, and find somebody who's open. And, don't look now, TJ, but Otega Owe, 11 for 32 from three in these high-level games. But as of late, I'm really liking Otega's. So what is he was 3 for 4 on Wednesday, and then 2 for 4 on Saturday. I mean, that's pretty good. That's
if he's open, I love him taking a 3. I'm totally cool with it, and I actually feel pretty good about it. He just can't create a 3 himself and make a 3 by himself.
Yeah, he's a catch and shoot.
Yes.
Otega Owe actually is pretty darn good from behind the 3-point line, and I'm getting to the point where if it's on catch and shoot, I'm kind of expecting him to make it at this point.
He's just not going to shake and bake and pull and knock it down. His release isn't quick enough. But if he has time and he's set and he's ready to shoot, I'm right there with you, Peak. I'm get back on defense, everybody. That bad boy's going in. Let's read some text here on the Game Day Men's Health text line. It's just so much better when Kentucky wins basketball games. And shout out to Kenny Brooks and the women's team for beating Oklahoma. This offense, Peak, I'm worried about it. Obviously, they lost at Alabama on Thursday. That was a bad loss, but I think they shot like 33% from the field, just something atrocious. Clara Stack was terrible in that game. What do? You follow that up with a home win against a top 5 team. So that's good. That'll do. This team is destined to be, at worst, probably a 3 seed, but you may be looking at a 1 or 2 seed depending on where things go. But I'm a little worried about their offense moving forward. But it was a great weekend for Kentucky basketball. So shout out to Mark Pope. I know this has been a brutal season for him. Kenny Brooks, not so much, but he just continues to do great things at historic Memorial Coliseum. So good weekend for Kentucky basketball, and that's just what we expect. A texter says, would you like to see a combination of Johnson and Owe at guards, Marino, Williams, and Yelovich? This would give you 2 guards that can shoot and drive, 2 big men that can stretch the floor and rebound and handle the ball and run the floor, this along with Marino. I don't know if I want Cam Williams at the 3. I think he's such an advantage at the 4. From an offensive standpoint, I get what you're saying. I almost feel like Weetabix texter, I don't want to dismiss this opinion, but I just would need to see more of it to have like a good idea. Yelovich has played so sparingly, Stephen Peak. It's hard to really know what you're getting there. I love the way he can spread the floor, but I just need to see more of him in a competitive game, and we've gotten so very little of that this year.
But I actually don't mind this lineup. I think that this could work. I really do. I like the idea of Williams playing the 3 and letting Yelovich play the 4. Maybe not for a ton of the game, but that's the lineup that you can really spread the floor with. You have to at least respect Andrea Yelovich's ability to shoot, so you're going to have to go out there and guard him. I actually think that is your best offensive lineup. I mean, honestly, if Johnson can figure some things out, Owe at the 2, Williams at the 3, Yelovich 4, Moreno 5, I think that's actually a really good offensive lineup. You do sacrifice some stuff there, and I do agree that Williams at the 4 that works as well. But when you don't have Aberdeen in the rotation, I actually like Williams at the 3.
The only thing is, and this may not be the worst thing in the world, is that Jasper and Owe are your only creators there. They're the only people that can drive to even get Cam Williams or Yelovich open. Cam Williams, that's probably the next progress of his game, is being able to have the ball in his hands and dribble, jab, and pull, or dribble and attack and pull up from somewhere, or dribble and attack and finish at the rim, which I don't think that's ever going to happen for his game. However, I just worry that you wouldn't have enough creators in that instance, but maybe 2 is enough. Maybe Owe driving and then kicking out will be fine enough. If Marino could spread the floor a little bit, I'd be more likely to be all right with that lineup, but he's a very traditional big, just like your classic 2000s big. And shout out to him. He was awesome on Saturday. He was really, really good. And Peak, him being really, really good, I think allowed Brandon Garrison to be really good. That was a classic Brandon Garrison role, in my opinion, which is a role player. And he served it well. Like, that is what the bigs should look like. I totally forgot that even Jaden Quaintance was on the team. and he is Kentucky's best big. Do you think we're going to see him again this year? We won't hold you to it, buddy, whether you're wrong or right. So just your opinion. What do you feel in your gut?
In my gut, I'm leaning no, but I wouldn't be. It's not. This isn't a case of. This isn't one that I would be completely shocked if we saw him again. But it's just. I mean, it's not. It's really not necessary for him at this point. So, what do you do? You know, it's a tough call, but I don't know.
At what point was it necessary? I don't know. Maybe he showed enough in that St. John's game that like the NBA draft boards loved him and like, all right, you're still that dude. But no, like it probably never was necessary for him to play at all. He could have just went straight to the draft when eligible, which would be in 2026, and be good to go. But no, I hear you, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him again in a Kentucky jersey. I hate that. He's a difference maker. I hope.
Well, and the thing is too, I think if you have JQ in the offense that they ran against Mississippi State, I think actually like it could help him a lot because they really got away from that. By the time he found the floor, they were running. I mean, it wasn't a ton of floppy action like Cal was running in 2022-23, but this offense that they ran against Mississippi State, I mean, don't you see how JQ can really flourish in that role?
Yes, I would love, when you talk about this lineup, Malachi was awesome, but I'd feel a little bit better having JQ in at the 5 and then just do nothing but offensive options outside of that, which is what the point of the texter was saying. But then I'd feel a lot better about it because you have I really do believe that JQ can be one of the best defenders in college basketball. And I actually don't think he's far from that like today. Like even banged up, maybe not 100%. He is just such a huge human being. And he's got such a good wingspan. And he has great timing. Yeah, he wasn't great against Alabama. I understand that. Against Missouri as well. There's room for improvement there. I hope we see him again. I just think he's too good to not have on the floor. Let's read a few more texts and wrap up the show today. The Packers couldn't cash the checks. TJ was writing on Twitter all week. Tough scenes. The Bears suck, buddy. Just the Bears suck. Matt LaFleur, I knew he was terrible. I thought 21-3 would be enough for him. Unfortunately, it wasn't. The Bears are going to get absolutely roasted by the Rams. TJ, if you're expecting any semblance of intelligence from any fandom's Twitter trolls, you're always going to be in for a bad time. And Kentucky's too, for what it's worth. Kentucky's too. There's no doubt about that. Enjoying today's edition of Green Bay Roll Call. Hey, hour number 2. That's where you're at. Hour number 2, all basketball. This team needs to show us that they can win a true road game. Their first 2 have been very difficult, but it's another hurdle they need to get over. Have to win at least one this week. Totally agree with that, especially on Wednesday in Baton Rouge. That would be a terrible loss, and you'd be last place in the SEC. You can't have that happen. Thank you, everybody, for listening. The show went by too quickly. Producer Matt making sure we sound good, and Stephen Peak in Lexington. I'm TJ Walker. We'll all be back in studio tomorrow, noon. Be there. Kentucky Roll Call, Big X Sports Radio. Thank you all.
Jeffersonville. W230CK, Jeffersonville.
Defining a new era in men's health, Gameday Men's Health delivers real results with no shortcuts.